Well, after a big wait, I ordered an MTEN3. This is my MTEN3 with the Roll-NZ cover. 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers it took me to get a flat. First thing I did when I got this wheel was put slime in the tyre. Apparently that's done no good because it's flat. I've blown it up and looked like it was holding air again, but clearly that hasn't lasted. So rather than rip everything apart and replace the tube, I've decided to do a tubeless conversion. There is a video from Marty on the internet already as to how he went about that. What I'm hoping to do is to do that without splitting the case, without taking the wheel apart. So without further ado, we'll see how that goes. So basically my plan, I have this is a TR412 valve, it's just a normal Schrader valve, but shorter than the standard. These are for sort of low profile car tyres. Requires an 11.5mm hole. So I have an 11.5mm drill bit. And after a bit of research also, I have settled on some muck off, no puncture hassle, tubeless tyre sealant. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think Marty put any sealant in his at all, but I was going to go ahead and put some of this in and see how it goes. Has a neat feature, has actually UV dye in it, so if you get a puncture and it leaks through, theoretically you can discover that with a UV light, which is actually included in the kit. So broadly, I've broken the bead here. Broadly, my strategy is going to be, and you do have to drill, but basically to get the tube out through this gap, to put a block of wood in here, drill through from the top to enlarge that hole. See if I can get the new valve stem in from underneath and pull through without taking the tyre off on either side, and then it's just a case of making the tyre sit. Now this tube does have slime in it, so originally I was just going to cut the tube, but that's going to make a huge mess inside the wheel, so I'm actually thinking I might use some cable ties to seal the ends and cut between them, and we'll see how that goes. But first things first, I've got to get this valve out. And that might be the impossible part without actually taking the wheel, taking the tyre off the wheel. We'll see. That really hurts. I need something to push on that, pull on that. Something that's harder than my soft fingers. Oh, yes, yes. Look at that. Nice. Ah, okay. I need, oh no, how are we going to get that out? Needle nose pliers. Short needle nose pliers. This is one of those jobs where you spend 5 hours doing something what seems like the easier way to avoid what seems like the hard way, when it would have been easier just to, split the case and get it done with. Here we go. All right, here comes the tube. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. That's, surprisingly hard to get out of that gap. Thought it'd come up a bit easier. I mean, ultimately it's rubber, right? So just pull. Cap on that before I end up with slime everywhere. I actually feel like there's slime in the bottom of this, and that might be what's stopping it from coming out to some degree. Here we go. Oh, okay. Just gonna sort of work our way around. It's actually got quite a lot of air in it still, which won't be helping. Right. Okay. It's making exciting noises. There we go. Is that so we can peer up in the body there? Right. There's definitely like, yeah, like that's so abraded. This bits of rubber just coming off it. Right. So I think, I mean, that's full of slime. I think. Okay. Let's treat this like a baby's umbilical cord. If I do that, pull that really tight, and then do that, pull that really tight, as tight as I can get those, and then paper towels. Right. Need those. Okay. And then, hoping I can just take that around the loop, look, all the way around. There, oops, whoa, camera's on the move. Let's see if I can put you guys back. Right, yeah, look at that, the amount of, I mean, I guess the tyre pressure was just too low, or it's just so, it's so abraded. You know, I don't know whether that comes up on camera very well, but there's just like slots and cracks. I mean, I actually don't see any evidence of any slime on the outside, sealing any holes at all, which I kind of did expect to see. But definitely I can see what the problem was. So yeah, it's really been rubbing. It's become very, very porous. All right, well, that's rubbish. Now, so the next thing is to enlarge this hole. And that gets enlarged out to 11.5 millimeters. Yeah, it's very, very close to the motor's edge. That does make me a little bit nervous. But what I'm thinking is I'll just get a block of wood in here, clamp it in place, and we'll drill into it and see how we go. That's not encouraging on the edge of the tyre there as well. There's actually a little bit of fibre sticking through. Like a nick in the sidewall. Hopefully the, yeah, there's a tiny wee nick in the sidewall there. Hopefully the muck off will take care of that. Fingers crossed. Yeah, it's just balls of rubber in here. Right, piece of wood. Okay, drill. A shop vacuum as well. Clamps, the solution to all world's problems. At least today. Yeah, all right. That'll hopefully what that'll do is collect any metal that heads underneath, and then we can just rotate the wheel around and vacuum off the top. It'll all collect in this channel. Anyway, right, here we go. Alright, let's just see if we can what that inside edge is like. It's actually not bad. Sanding. That's actually not bad at all. I thought I'd need to get a deburring tool in there, but that's actually really good. Really pleased with that. This top edge is obviously a bit harder to reach. I'm going to look, this is designed for, you know, a piece of metal that's this thickness. It is that on the sides, but the front and back, it's a bit thicker. Yeah, all right. Well, I think the strategy here is get this in really hot soapy water. So we'll go do that. Right, so I've just got that in just some boiling hot soap. Well, not boiling, but pretty hot soapy water. It's probably 50, 60 degrees Celsius. I'm actually feeling encouraged so far that this can be done actually without splitting the case. That really does concern me on the tyre, though. It's just it's like a little slit on the bead, which is not ideal. I really hope the sealant will sort that out. It really should. It's supposed to seal up to like a 6mm hole. Right, now I don't have a tool for pulling the valve through the hole, so what I'm hoping is that I can use this somehow. Somehow being the operative. statement there. Well, I wouldn't say that's particularly any softer, but see if I can get it far enough through to get that on it. Then hopefully, yeah. Okay. Encouraging so far. Okay. Turn the valve. All right. I guess the further on I can get this, the better. This is not really designed for this. Right. That's kind of dried off. I guess it's evaporating because it's hot, which is a good sign. Right. Oh, here we go. Start with a piece of cardboard here, just to protect the surface. Yeah, so this is actually a valve stem removal, like a valve, what's the word? Valve core removal tool. It's not really designed for this, but I couldn't get the right tool. So, when you can't get the right tool, the tool that you have is the right tool. And I'm hoping that I can just do this. Oh goodness me, yes, no, oh. Is that in? Is that it? Is it? I think it is. Oh, I'm so excited. If that's it, I'm just... Ah! If that was it, that was really easy. Yep, I think... we're in. I think we're in, boys. Oh, yeah. We absolutely are. Let me just spin this off again. Oh, yes. Get that out. Let me see if I can get you a closer look. So, that's what that looks like there, but on the inside it's just sitting up against the wheel rim. Very, very happy with that. And you can see, actually, you can see the just a little bit that I'm concerned about there. We'll see. We will see. Okay. I think, yeah, just see if I can get some sharp side cutters. See if I can trim that off. Yeah, okay. There's a bit of the beater. Bit of a, wow, that's actually quite hard. There we go. Bit of a clean. What's that? Okay, all good. All good. Right, and on the other side, the other side, the bead is actually still seated. I wonder if I should actually just leave it seated, therefore. That's a question mark. So I actually had to, I'll just move you a bit of framing here. There we go. I actually had to force this bead off here with a tire iron to get it down. And I think I'm better off leaving the other bead seated, I suspect, because there we go, slide that back up. If I put the air compressor on that, I think it'll reseat both sides, whereas if I unseat the other side and clean it, well, if it was never unseated, it shouldn't have any crap in it, and I've only done 10 kilometres, so I think we'll leave it. Let's try putting some air in, see what happens. Actually, you know what? I've got an absolute mess of tools. Just thinking. Let's all right, a bit of a moment of truth here. All right, looks like you still need the extension here. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Wow. Well, I mean, it's gone in, it's seated, it's blown up. Yeah, see that? Definitely leaks some air if you push it around a bit. But again, I hope that getting the sealant in there yeah, I mean, it's definitely leaking. Where's my core tool? So I did a bit of research on the internet, meaning I read other people's research, and this seems to be a bit of a favourite at the moment, so I thought I would give it a try. It is a latex-based solution, but it's rated up to 50 degrees. I'm hoping that'll help it not evaporate, because latex does go off in these, and so you end up having to top them up frequently anyway. Every 2 or 3 months potentially. This says lasts up to 6 months in temperate climates, won't boil, CO2 compatible, ammonia free. Right. Shake pouch. Road, 30 to 45 mils. 26-inch mountain bike, 60 to 75 mils. Cross 700C, I don't even know what that is. 60 to 75 mils. 29-inch mountain bike, 105 to 140, downhill 120 to 140. well, I can't be bothered doing the math on this volume, but you know, it's probably similar to a big road tyre. So, what does this thing have in it? This has 140 mils. I don't know, what do I reckon? Could put half the packet in. That's probably a bit much. I'll just put some in. Smell? Oh, smells really nice. I don't understand. Ah, it's designed to fit over a Presta valve. Well, that's going to make it harder, isn't it? Like a length of tube. Right, this is the tube from the slime, actually, the tyre slime. Should be able to put that cause out, yes, over the valve. I might even be able to put that over the valve, actually. It'll be a bit tighter. Yes, there we go. And then, I'm hoping, because this is designed to have a, oh, that's quite liquid, a Presta valve go into it. What I'm hoping is that I can, yep, that works, look at that. Perfect. Well, according to this approximate scale here, that's about 40 mils. Oh, wow, yeah, that happened quickly. Went from 40 to 80 in a heartbeat there. Okay. The trick now is to get this off without making a gigantic mess. Yeah, kind of. Okay. I'm not sure, like, I'm just gonna, when you're screwing the valve stem into that, the valve core into that, I should say, I'm not sold that it should have sealant just sitting in it. So, I suspect they don't bother doing this in a bike shop. I suspect. There we go. I reckon that'll do. Alright, valve core. Drop that in. Valve core, tooly majig. Do that up. No idea how tight they're supposed to be. Probably not that tight. Extension. This is the extension that came with the wheel. Air. And we'll just go. Well, that's 30 psi. Got a little bit more. And actually, I don't know how accurate my gauge on my compressor is, so let's go with this. So that says 25, and this says, oops, this says air everywhere. Okay, that's 40 according to my compressor, and just 32 according to this. Yeah, okay, and we'll lose a little bit when we unscrew it. Just a little bit. Well, I don't know, but I imagine it's probably better to be higher, at least initially, while it's seating and sealing. Yeah, might as well put the valve stem lid on. Right, let's give it a bit of a spin. And ultimately it's the bead. Oh, oh no. It actually doesn't quite, it doesn't quite clear. Well, it kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. That's there's like a millimetre in that. But it's just this bottom corner, like, I see two solutions to that. One is to use a different valve, and I do have one somewhere. I do have a 90, but I think potentially hit the same issue. Just, in fact, I think it's even worse when you look at them. I think, yeah, we'd end up hitting the metal shaft, so that'd be bad. Maybe the answer is just to Dremel a tiny bit. Okay, I wonder if I can do something. When I was tipping the valve before, it was leaking, and I might just tip it with the valve at the lowest point and make sure that there's sealant getting in everywhere. Well, there we go. That is an MTEN3, or MTEN3, however you prefer, tubeless conversion without removing any screws. All right. All right. I am not unhappy with that. So, the only thing next is to take it for a ride, which right now is going to wait until the morning. Alright, well, after last night's late night escapade in the garage, I have come down to the local school to try things out. I have to say, I am very much still getting used to the MTEN3. It rides very differently to the 16S, which is the only other wheel I have experience with. But enough on that. Pumped it up last night with the sealant, as you saw. Discovered there's a bit of a discrepancy between my pressure gauge on my compressor and a digital pressure gauge that I have. To be fair, they're both like the cheapest, nastiest piece of gear that you could hope to lay hands on. So yeah, I've got some air in the tire. It's probably somewhere between 30 and 40 psi, but in all honesty, I'm finding a little bit hard to tell, but the tyre is hard. Let's go with that. The tyre is nice and firm. It hasn't gone down appreciably overnight. I didn't put the pressure gauge back on it, but just by a push, it hasn't gone down appreciably overnight. So I'm very pleased with that. Now, oh, bit of wind here. I did notice that there was some interference between the valve tip and the corner of the cover on the valve side. Now, when I was spinning the wheel on the bench, it wasn't touching, but there was like a millimeter of clearance there. When I put weight on the wheel, I guess that either deforms the case or there's a little bit of play in the bearings. I mean, the clearance was so fine that basically just wheeling backwards and forwards across the garage. Whoa, see, there's the noob coming out. Wind. Wheeling backwards and forwards across the garage, I did have a click periodically. Now that click wasn't every rotation of the tyre, but it was certainly present. It was pretty light. So what I've done, I'll just, actually if I come to a stop, I can probably try and show you. What I have done is taken the Dremel out and just taken the corner off the case. So basically, you can see that corner there. I've taken the just taken the corner off, and obviously the same on the other side. If I come right in low here, should give you a real good view of the clearance. And there's probably 2.5 millimeters clearance there now, whereas there's probably 0.5 millimeter previously. So that seems to have, well, I'm certainly not getting any clicking, so that seems to have taken care of that. You know what, while we're stopped, let's talk about valves. I did say that I used a TR412 valve, which is a tyre valve requiring a 11.5 millimeter hole. Now, I actually picked that up from the local tyre shop. If you're in the States, I think you can just buy them on Amazon.com. AliExpress has them. I don't know what quality they are. Now, I did try a selection, well, I ordered a selection of different valves as well. None of them fit, so I did end up just going with the TR412 and drilling the rim. I ordered a selection basically because I couldn't get dimensions for these things online, so they were cheap enough that I just ordered a handful, and we figured I'd sort it out when they arrived. I will throw the valve codes. These are all like VH, VHI, something or another. I will throw those codes in the description just so that you know what doesn't fit, in case anyone else is following in my footsteps here. Absolutely glorious day after horrible weather yesterday. All right. Can't say I've particularly figured out my foot position for this wheel yet, so it'll actually be interesting for me to watch the video afterwards and see where I've actually got my feet. Yeah, I think what I've done now is actually better than what I had a moment ago. Oh. Yep, so I just ran over a plastic cap for a pump bottle, for a water bottle. Tyre seems to do okay. That's good. Wasn't the tyre popping. In terms of tyre sealant, I know when Marty did this, and thank you Marty, that video was really useful, if not the least, to discourage me from wanting to actually split the case and get the tyre off the rim. But Marty, I don't believe, used a sealant at all. He might have put some slime in afterwards. What I have done is put mountain bike tubeless sealant in. When you run tubeless in a mountain bike, you typically put a sealant in. They can be latex based or non-latex based. The real common one is, I'm not even going to try and go up there. A real common one is by a brand called Stans. It's latex based, but it does dry up and leave this horrible webbed mess inside your tyre and balls that get called stanimals. I didn't really want to be dealing with that if I could avoid it, so I did a bit of research. Muck-Off, who have historically made cleaning products for dirt bikes and branching into mountain bikes have released a sealant called Muc-Off hassle-free tubeless sealant. See if I can get up there. Oh, yep, happy with that. I had a bit of a poke around on the internet, and that seemed to be highly recommended as a, you know, best sealant 2021 type deal. It's a little bit more expensive than the other sealants, but to be honest, with the volume of it that we're requiring for these wheels, it's neither here nor there. I think it's $20 New Zealand on sale for 140 mils. I put about half of that in, rightly or wrongly, again, just a bit of a guess. $20 New Zealand's what? It's like 15 bucks US or something like that. Not crazy expensive when you factor in the cost of the wheel and just the time and effort involved. And in that respect, just a bit disappointed that the slime didn't seal the thing in the first place, to be honest. That was surprising, but never mind. So give that one a try. Apparently it doesn't make a mess inside the tube, so that's good. It is latex based. The latex ones, from what I have read, definitely seal holes better. So in testing this, sealed I think a 6mm screwdriver puncher in the tire carcass. So I guess, you know, time will tell. In my respect, really all I'm needing it to do is seal the bead and make sure that that doesn't leak, particularly since I had a little deformity / nick in the bead. I don't know where that had come from, I guess from the manufacturing fitting process. Oh, water, that'd be nice right now. So yeah, look, put the sealant in. It's going to also seal the hole around the valve stem. The valve stem it basically has a lip that forgive me, I'm concentrating. The valve stem basically has a lip that's designed for the steel rim of a car tire to sit in. And that lip, when you drill an 11.5mm hole, you only end up with that lip front and back, left and right, essentially radially around the wheel. On your M10 wheel, the other side actually ends up, particularly the inside close to the motor, ends up with this like 5-6mm wall of metal that I guess the valve is just pressing up against that. But certainly it's not slotting into that lip. So I think, you know, in the video you will have seen when I pulled the valve sideways last night away from that wall, it definitely leaked. When I did that this morning, once that sealant had time to sit, or even last night, it wobbles. It had time to sit, and now that's completely sealed. I can wiggle the valve around and I don't seem to get any leaking. So I would say that is good. The other thing that the Muc-Off sealant had, and I'm starting to sound like a Muc-Off advert, and to be fair, you know, I haven't used this stuff before, so who knows, right? Time will tell. The other thing that it did have, though, was quite a high temperature rating. It was rated up to 50 degrees. They say it lasts 6 months before you need to top it up in a temperate climate. So obviously the wheel is getting quite warm when you ride. So even if you're in a colder climate, the actual sealant is still subject to a lot more evaporation, given the temperature that the motor is bringing the thing up to. So I figured that the higher temperature, better. Ooh, hey look, that is, oh, it's gone. It was a pukeko sitting on a tree. No, scared it. Ah, there it is, hiding down there. Right, yeah, so it seemed like the best option. It is latex based, they seal better. So time will tell. Your mileage may vary. You can choose or use whatever sealant you think you prefer. Now let's talk about valve pulling tools. I couldn't get one at the local automotive shop. They didn't have them. All I could get was a valve core tool. So the valve stem pulling tool is, I don't know, a foot long, looks a bit like a socket wrench, screws onto one end. Often the valves come with them on Amazon. That was what Marty used and had some trouble with, actually, because he ended up using the valve extension on that as well. I couldn't get one of those. But what I did manage to get was the valve core tool / tap all in one. And so that is designed obviously for removing valve cores, which I already had one of those, but it's also designed to re-tap the threads on the outside of the valve and also in the core of the valve, depending on which side you use, like that four-way cross shape. So I just used that. I screwed the outside tap down over the valve. I was able to do that without a valve extension, and then a couple of screwdrivers, some cardboard so I didn't mar anything, and just I sat it in hot water. It's probably, how hot's our water? 55-60 degrees Celsius. Hot soapy water. Sat in there for maybe a minute, got bored of waiting, and just went for it, and it popped in really easily. So very, very straightforward. Drilling out the rim, other than the drill grabbing, because I was trying to do everything with one hand and at an awkward angle for filming. Very easy to do. From my background and experience in running a scooter with 8-inch tires, I can tell you now that they pinch flat continuously. I did a tubeless conversion on my M365. As soon as I got a flat on this, I mean 10 kilometers. It was nothing. Fortunately, I was very close to home when it happened, but 10 kilometers, 6 miles, flat. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Interesting thing for me, as you saw when I took the tube out, I couldn't see any holes, but there certainly were a lot of rubber balls in the tire. So I suspect perhaps I was just running way too low of a pressure, and it was just, you know, it's abraded the tube. It certainly had some cracks on its side. I don't know how to describe that really. It was, yeah, cracks, which I suppose the pressure could have leaked through slowly. For whatever reason, Slime wasn't dealing with that. Just do the tubeless conversion. Apparently some of the, I mean, this is a brand new model. This is actually Be Good branded, rather than Gotway branded. It had all of that, you know, stickers and labels with Be Good on. So I had expected it to come tubeless, and it came as tubes. Reading on the internet, apparently they produce them both ways for reasons that escape me. But nonetheless, I would highly recommend doing the tubeless conversion. It is very easy to do without taking the tire off, without splitting the case. I didn't even take the Roll-On Z cover off this thing, so very easy to do. Very pleased. Let's get away from the road so that you can actually hear me. Let's not fall off on here as well. Yeah. Okay. So I remember when I first started on my 16-inch wheel, I couldn't ride with the camera initially because, you know, I needed to swim with my arms. I feel like I'm back there, and this long selfie stick is not doing me any favors at all, but nonetheless, still very fun wheel. I might leave you there. Tubeless, MTEN3, do it.